My brother Ethan was always the golden child. From the moment he was born 3 years before me, he could do no wrong in our parents' eyes. He got the best room, the newest car, the college fund that mysteriously never ran out. I got hand-me-downs and lectures about being more like your brother. When Ethan graduated with his business degree, Dad hired him immediately as vice president of property management for our family's rental portfolio in Florida. 12 houses spread across Tampa and Orlando that my grandparents had built up over 40 years. Dad paid him $75,000 a year to collect rent checks and coordinate repairs. I went a different route. I got my accounting degree from a state school. I paid for myself with scholarships and night shifts at a hospital. No family money. No safety net. Just me, my determination, and a deep understanding that I'd never be seen as equal in my family's eyes. Maya's going into accounting, my mother told relatives with barely concealed disappointment. Such a boring field. Not entrepreneurial like Ethan. What they didn't know was that boring accounting gave me something invaluable. I could see exactly where money went. And more importantly, where it didn't. My relationship with my grandmother was different. While my parents worshipped Ethan, Grandma Rose saw through it. She'd built that rental portfolio with Grandpa before he died, working as a property manager herself for 30 years. She knew real estate. She knew numbers. And she knew people. Your brother has your father's charm, she told me one Thursday afternoon in early 2019. We met every week at her small condo in Clearwater, just the two of us. But you have something better. You have integrity. I was 26 then, working at a mid-sized accounting firm in Tampa. Ethan was 29 and already talking about expanding the family empire and leveraging our portfolio. Grandma, can I ask you something? I said that Thursday. Do you ever review the rental income statements Ethan sends you? She looked at me sharply. Why? Because I've been looking at property tax records. Public information. Your 12 properties should be generating approximately $18,000 monthly in rental income. That's $216,000 annually. That sounds right, she said. But the statements Ethan sends you show only $14,000 monthly. A difference of $4,000 per month. $48,000 per year. Grandma's face hardened. How long has this been going on? Based on the records I can access? At least 3 years. Possibly longer. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, I need you to do something for me. I need you to become a forensic accountant. I'll pay for any additional certification you need. And I need you to audit everything. Over the next 2 months, I did exactly that. I got my certified fraud examiner credentials. I subpoenaed bank records through an attorney Grandma hired. And I found everything. Ethan had been skimming for 5 years. Not just $4,000 a month, that was recent. It started smaller. $500 here, $1,000 there. Maintenance expenses, that never happened. Emergency repairs with no invoices. Property management fees, that went straight to his personal account. Total amount stolen, $347,000. I'm going to change my will, Grandma said when I showed her the evidence. I'm leaving everything to you. Grandma, that will destroy the family. Good. They deserve it. She paused. But there's a better way. I'm going to deed all 12 properties to you now. Quit claim deeds. Immediate transfer. They'll be yours before I die. No probate. No will contest. Just done. But, Maya, listen to me. Your brother is stealing from me. Your parents know and don't care because he's their golden boy. I built this portfolio for family, but I won't let thieves have it. You're the only one who told me the truth. You're the only one I trust. On March 15, 2019, we sat in an attorney's office. Grandma signed 12 quit-claim deeds, one for each property. The attorney recorded them that afternoon with the county. By 5 p.m., I legally owned 12 rental properties in Florida worth approximately $4.1 million. Don't tell anyone, Grandma said. Let's see what they do. What Grandma didn't know was that I'd already been preparing for independence. My accounting career was going well. I'd made senior auditor at my firm. I was 27 years old, living in a modest apartment, driving a 12-year-old Honda Civic and quietly building wealth. The 12 properties Grandma deeded me weren't just properties. They were income. Real income. $18,000 monthly once I took over management. But I didn't touch Ethan's operation. Not yet. Grandma and I agreed. Let him keep managing them. Let him keep stealing. Every stolen dollar was more evidence. Every fake invoice was another count of fraud. I was building a case. I hired my own property management company, a discreet firm that specialized in absentee owners. They sent me the real numbers. Real maintenance costs. Real rental income. Real vacancy rates. I set up a separate LC, kept everything quiet, and watched the properties appreciate. Meanwhile, I invested. Conservative index funds. Real estate investment trust. Municipal bonds. The rental income one wasn't spending went straight into investments. I lived on my salary and banked everything else. By 2021, 2 years after the transfer, my net worth was pushing $2 million. The properties had appreciated to $4.6 million. My investment accounts held another $800,000. I was 29 years old and financially independent. My family knew none of this. At Thanksgiving 2021, my mother asked, "Maya, are you still at that accounting firm? Such a dead-end job. Ethan's looking at buying a beach house in Sarasota." "Still there, Mom," I said quietly. Ethan smirked. "I told you, Maya. You should have gone into real estate. That's where real money is." I just smiled. Ethan was driving a BMW he couldn't afford and talking about beach houses while I quietly held $4.6 million in assets. But I said nothing. Grandma Rose died in September 2023. She was 84. I held her hand in the hospital as she took her last breath. "You're going to be fine," she whispered. "You're smarter than all of them combined. Don't let them take what's yours." "I won't, Grandma." "And Maya? Make them pay for what they did." The funeral was massive. Over 200 people. Ethan gave a tearful eulogy about the woman who taught me everything about real estate. I sat quietly in the back, rage burning silently in my chest. 2 weeks after the funeral, I received a formal letter on expensive letterhead. Notice of estate distribution meeting October 15, 2023, 2 p.m. Law Offices of Henderson and Associates. All immediate family members were required to attend for the reading of Rose Martinez's will and distribution of estate assets. I called my attorney, the same one who'd handled the quit-claim deeds 4 years earlier. "They're going to try to distribute property I already own," I said. "Let them try," Attorney Morrison said. "Bring nothing to the meeting. Say nothing. When they make their claims, I'll handle it. Trust me, this is going to be very entertaining." The meeting was scheduled for a Monday afternoon. I took the day off work, dressed in simple black slacks and a gray blouse, and drove my 12-year-old Civic to the attorney's office in downtown Tampa. I arrived exactly on time. My parents were already there, sitting in expensive leather chairs. My mother wore a designer dress. My father had a new Rolex I'd never seen before. Ethan sat between them in a tailored suit, looking confident and comfortable. Also present, my Aunt Linda, Uncle Robert, and 2 cousins I barely knew. Everyone looked eager, expectant, like they were waiting for Christmas presents. The estate attorney, Mr. Henderson, was a distinguished man in his 60s with silver hair and cold eyes. He did not look like someone who tolerated nonsense. "Thank you all for coming," he began. "We're here to discuss the estate of Rose Martinez, who passed on September 8th. Before we begin, I want to confirm, Ms. Maya Martinez, you are present." "I am," I said quietly from my chair near the back. Ethan didn't even turn around. Mr. Henderson began with the standard estate overview. Grandma's condo in Clearwater, worth approximately $300,000. Her car. Her personal belongings. Some jewelry. Savings accounts totaling $115,000. "And then there's the matter of the rental property portfolio," Mr. Henderson said. Ethan sat up straighter. 12 residential properties in the Tampa and Orlando areas, currently valued at approximately $4.8 million. These properties generate approximately $18,000 in monthly rental income. My mother gasped softly. I don't think she'd ever known the actual numbers. "Now," Mr. Henderson continued, "Mrs. Martinez's will, dated March 2019, specifically addresses these properties." "Actually," Ethan interrupted, standing up, "I'd like to address the family before we get into legal details." Mr. Henderson raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Ethan turned to face the room, every inch the confident businessman. I know Grandma Rose loved all of us. But I've been managing these properties for 7 years. I know every tenant, every property manager, every maintenance issue. I've grown the portfolio's value by over 30%. My father nodded approvingly. I think we all know Grandma would want these properties to stay with someone who understands real estate. Someone who's dedicated his career to this. He paused dramatically. I'm formally requesting that the 12 properties be distributed to me. I'll ensure they stay in the family and continue to grow. My Aunt Linda spoke up. That seems fair. Ethan's been doing all the work. I agree, my mother said immediately. Maya's never shown any interest in real estate. She wouldn't know what to do with rental properties. I said nothing. I simply watched. Uncle Robert nodded. Makes sense to me. Keep it with someone who knows the business. Ethan smiled. I appreciate the family's support. Mr. Henderson, I assume we can make this distribution official today. Mr. Henderson looked at Ethan with an expression I couldn't quite read. Mr. Martinez, before we proceed, I have a question. You say you've been managing these properties for 7 years. That's correct. And collecting the rental income? Yes, as property manager. I take a 15% management fee, which is industry standard, and ensure the properties are maintained and profitable. I see. Mr. Henderson opened a folder. And you're aware that property management typically includes providing detailed financial statements to the property owner? Of course. I send quarterly reports too. I sent them to Grandma Rose. Did you? Something in Mr. Henderson's tone made Ethan pause. Yes. And these reports showed accurate rental income numbers? Absolutely. That's when I decided to speak. I reached into my bag and pulled out my own folder. Thick, organized, tabbed. I stood up and walked to the front of the room. Maya? My mother said, confused. What are you doing? I didn't answer her. Instead, I placed the folder on Mr. Henderson's desk. What is this? Ethan demanded. I finally spoke, my voice calm and steady. Forensic accounting report. Certified by an independent fraud examiner. Covering rental income, expenses, and management of 12 properties from January 2018 through September 2023. The room went silent. Ethan's confident smile faltered. What are you talking about? I turned to face him directly. I'm talking about $347,000 in stolen rental income over 5 years. I'm talking about fake maintenance invoices. I'm talking about embezzlement. That's insane, Ethan said, but his voice cracked slightly. Dad, she's lying. She's trying to sabotage me because she's jealous. The properties generate $18,000 monthly in rental income, I continued. You reported $14,000 to Grandma Rose for the past 3 years. $4,000 monthly shortfall. That's $48,000 annually. But you didn't start there. You started smaller in 2018. The forensic audit documents everything. My father stood up. Maya, this is completely inappropriate. Your brother has managed those properties with integrity. Actually, Mr. Martinez, Mr. Henderson interrupted, I'd like to hear this. Ms. Martinez, please continue. I opened my folder to the first tab. Property 1, 2847 Palmetto Drive, Tampa. Tenant rent, $1,500 monthly. Ethan reported $1,200 to Grandma Rose. Difference, $300 monthly, pocketed by Ethan. This is ridiculous, Ethan said. I have records. Property 2, 891 Orange Blossom Lane, Orlando. Tenant rent, $1,600 monthly. Reported as $1,300. Difference, $300 monthly. I went through all 12 properties. Every discrepancy. Every fake invoice. Every maintenance expense, that never happened. My voice never wavered. My mother's face grew pale. My father sat back down. Aunt Linda looked horrified. You're making this up, Ethan finally said weakly. You don't have access to this information. You can't prove any of this. Actually, I can. I pulled out the next section. 20 pages of bank statements highlighted and annotated. These are your personal bank account statements from 2018 to 2023. Obtained legally through subpoena by Grandma Rose's attorney in 2019. Notice the deposits that coincide exactly with the rental income shortfalls? $300 here, $500 there. eventually escalating to $4,000 monthly by 2021. Ethan's face went from red to white. How did you? That's private. Grandma Rose suspected you were stealing, I said quietly. She asked me to investigate in early 2019. I did. I found everything. And she made her decision based on what I discovered. Mr. Henderson spoke up. Which brings us to the actual matter at hand. Mr. Ethan Martinez, you've spent the last 10 minutes requesting distribution of 12 rental properties. Properties you claim to have managed faithfully. Properties you believe should be yours. They should be, Ethan said desperately. I've dedicated years. Properties you don't own, Mr. Henderson said flatly. Properties you have never owned. Properties you will never own. The room exploded. What? My father demanded. What are you talking about? My mother said. Mr. Henderson opened his own folder, a thin one, and removed 12 documents. On March 15, 2019, Rose Martinez executed quitclaim deeds transferring all 12 rental properties to Maya Elena Martinez. These deeds were recorded with the county that same day. Maya Martinez has been the legal owner of all 12 properties for 4 years and 7 months. You could have heard a pin drop. Ethan stared at the documents like they were written in a foreign language. That's not possible. I've been managing them. I've been collecting the rent. Yes, I said quietly. From my properties. Without my permission. While stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from my accounts. Maya, my mother gasped. You've owned these properties for 4 years? Why didn't you say anything? Because Grandma and I agreed to let Ethan continue his operation. Every stolen dollar was more evidence. Every fake invoice was another count of fraud. I've been documenting everything. My father's face turned purple. This is a setup. You manipulated an elderly woman. I did nothing of the sort, I said coldly. Grandma Rose discovered Ethan was stealing from her. She asked me to investigate. I found $347,000 in embezzlement. She decided to deed the properties to the one family member she could trust, the one who told her the truth instead of stealing from her. Ethan suddenly lunged forward, grabbing the quitclaim deeds from Mr. Henderson's desk. These can't be legal. You can't just transfer. Mr. Henderson stood up, his voice sharp. Mr. Martinez, those are recorded legal documents. They are absolutely valid. Your grandmother had every right to transfer her property to whomever she wished. She chose your sister. And frankly, based on what I'm hearing today, she made the right choice. My attorney, Morrison, chose that moment to enter from the side door. I'd asked him to wait outside until needed. Good afternoon, everyone, he said pleasantly. I'm attorney James Morrison. I've represented Ms. Maya Martinez since 2019, when Mrs. Rose Martinez engaged my services to transfer her property portfolio. I also filed the subpoenas that obtained Mr. Ethan Martinez's bank records showing systematic embezzlement. He placed his briefcase on the table and opened it, removing a thick document. This is a civil complaint for fraud, theft, and embezzlement, ready to be filed in Tampa Circuit Court. Total damages, $347,000 in stolen rental income, plus interest and penalties. Additionally, we'll be referring the matter to the Florida State Attorney's Office for criminal prosecution. Ethan collapsed into his chair. No, this can't be happening. It gets better, Morrison continued. Ms. Martinez has also compiled a complete accounting of all property management activities from 2019 to 2023. Ethan, you've been collecting rent on properties you don't own, representing yourself as the property manager without the owner's authorization, and diverting income to your personal accounts. In real estate law, that's called fraud. It's also called grand theft. My father stood up again. We're not going to let you destroy your brother over some accounting errors. They're not errors, I said, my voice cutting through the room like ice. They're crimes. Deliberate, systematic, repeated crimes. And I have 4 years of evidence. My mother started crying. Maya, please. He's your brother. We're a family. You're not my family, I said quietly. You stopped being my family when you chose him over truth. When you ignored his theft because he was the golden child. When you dismissed everything I accomplished because I didn't fit your image of success. I turned to Ethan. You spent 7 years stealing from Grandma Rose. You stood at her funeral and pretended to love her while you were robbing her blind. And today, you tried to steal property that hasn't belonged to her for almost 5 years. Property that's mine. Property you've been stealing from. Ethan said nothing. He just stared at the floor. Attorney Morrison spoke up. Ms. Martinez has authorized me to present 2 options. Option 1. Ethan Martinez returns every stolen dollar. All $347,000, plus interest, totaling $412,000 within 30 days. He signs a confession of theft. He agrees to never contest the property ownership. And Ms. Martinez will not file criminal charges. And option 2? Uncle Robert asked nervously. Option 2. We file civil suit tomorrow morning and refer the matter to criminal prosecution. Grand theft in Florida carries up to 30 years in prison. With Ethan's documented pattern of theft over 5 years, I'd estimate he's looking at 8 to 12 years if convicted. The room fell completely silent. My father finally spoke, his voice broken. Maya, please. Don't do this to your brother. I looked at him directly. I'm not doing this to him. He did this to himself. For 7 years. While you praised him. While you told me I'd never amount to anything. We never said that, my mother protested weakly. You said it every day, I replied. Every time you compared me to him. Every time you dismissed my career. Every time you acted like I was invisible while he was your shining star. I paused. The only difference is that I have the evidence to prove what he really is. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. For the record, Mrs. Martinez's will is very simple. The condo goes to Maya Martinez. The personal property goes to Maya Martinez. The savings accounts go to Maya Martinez. The 12 rental properties, which she already owns, are mentioned only to confirm they were transferred before death and are not part of the probate estate. She left everything to Maya? Aunt Linda said, stunned. She left everything to the grandchild who didn't steal from her, Mr. Henderson said bluntly. I gathered my folder and stood up. You have 72 hours to decide. Option 1 or option 2. After that, we file. Attorney Morrison will be in contact. I walked toward the door. Maya, wait, Ethan said desperately. I don't have $400,000. I can't. I turned back. Then I suggest you sell your BMW. Your beach house investment you love bragging about. Whatever you need to do. You stole $412,000 from me over 5 years. You have 30 days to return it. Or you go to prison. But that will ruin me, he whispered. Yes, I said calmly. It will. Just like you tried to ruin Grandma Rose. Just like you tried to steal what she built. Actions have consequences, Ethan. You're about to learn that lesson. I walked out of that conference room and didn't look back. My phone started buzzing before I reached my car. Texts from my mother. Calls from my father. Voice messages from Ethan, progressively more desperate. I blocked them all. Attorney Morrison called me 2 hours later. Your brother's attorney just contacted me. Ethan wants to negotiate. No negotiation, I said. Full restitution plus interest or criminal prosecution. Those are the only options. Understood. For what it's worth, I think he'll pay. He doesn't want prison. Neither did Grandma Rose want to be robbed blind by her grandson. But here we are. The next 3 weeks were chaos I observed from a distance. Through Morrison I learned the details. My parents tried to get a home equity line of credit to help Ethan pay back what he stole. They were denied. Their credit scores weren't strong enough. The beach house Ethan had been bragging about? He'd put down only $15,000 and was underwater on the mortgage. He sold his BMW at a loss. On day 27, Ethan's attorney delivered a certified check for $412,000. Every penny he'd stolen plus interest, along with a signed confession of theft and a permanent agreement to never contest the property ownership. Morrison called me. It's done. The money's in your account. He's broke, but he's complying. And criminal charges? Per your agreement, we're not filing as long as he adheres to the settlement terms. But Maya? I documented everything. If he ever tries anything again, we have a signed confession. He'll never touch you or your assets again. I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No vindication. Just a cold emptiness where my family used to be. The following month, I received exactly 3 communications from my former family. First, my mother sent a long email explaining that they were disappointed in how I'd handled the situation and that I'd torn the family apart with my accusations. She asked if we could move past this for the holidays. I didn't respond. Second, my father sent a text. "You've always been difficult. This proves it. Don't contact us again." I blocked his number. Third, Ethan sent a handwritten letter. No return address. It said, "I'm sorry for what I did. I know you'll never forgive me. I don't blame you. I lost everything, my savings, my reputation, my family. I hope you're happy. I hope it was worth it." I burned the letter. It's been 14 months since that conference room confrontation. I'm 32 years old now. I own 12 rental properties in Florida generating approximately $19,000 monthly. I raised rents appropriately when I took over direct management. The properties are now worth approximately $5.2 million. My investment accounts total $1.4 million. My net worth is $6.6 million. I bought Grandma Rose's condo from the estate for the appraised value of $300,000. I kept everything exactly as she left it. I go there sometimes on Thursday afternoons and sit in her reading chair. I never heard from my parents again. Ethan moved to North Carolina. I heard through professional networks that he's working in car sales. He'll never work in real estate again, not with a confession of theft on record. My chosen family is different now. My best friend Sarah helped me through all of this. My mentor at the accounting firm who recommended me for partner track. My attorney Morrison who became a trusted friend. The property management team that runs my rentals honestly and ethically. Last month I was promoted to partner at my accounting firm. First female partner under 35 in the firm's 40-year history. I specialize in forensic accounting and fraud examination. I help other people discover when they're being stolen from. I think Grandma Rose would be proud. I had a plaque made and installed at the condo. It reads, "Rose Martinez Memorial Property, built with integrity, protected by truth." Sometimes people ask me if I regret how things went with my family. If I wish I'd handled it differently. If I feel guilty about Ethan losing everything. I don't. He didn't lose everything. He lost what he stole. He lost what was never his to begin with. He lost his ability to continue victimizing people who trusted him. I didn't tear the family apart. The family tore itself apart the moment they chose theft over truth, lies over honesty, image over integrity. I just refuse to be part of that family anymore. My rental properties have appreciated another 8% this year. I'm considering purchasing additional properties in Georgia. My professional reputation is excellent. I sleep soundly every night knowing I earned everything I have. And that folder I presented at the estate meeting? I keep a copy in my safe. Not because I think I'll need it again. Ethan learned his lesson. But because it reminds me of something important. Documentation is power. Truth is power. Integrity is power. My family thought power came from being the golden child, from having dad's approval, from looking successful. They were wrong. Real power comes from knowing your worth, documenting the truth, and refusing to let anyone, even family, steal what's yours. Grandma Rose taught me that. And I'll never forget it.